This video is not intended for children. This is not a children's video. If you are, well, let's say, I don't know, 13 or younger, turn it off now because it's going to poison your mind. Once again, in compliance with YouTube's regulations, this video is not for kids. And, yeah, because I'm going to show you some of these heavy metal magazines. Heavy metal is not for kids. Well, maybe some of the music is, but this magazine is not. This is the Adult Illustrated Fantasy magazine. Anyway, there is, you can see some racy covers. This magazine is known for its depictions of nudity, sometimes a lot of gore, but always like good science fiction. Interesting stories and fantasy sometimes. Sci-fi fantasy, yeah, in illustrated form. You know, it's usually each issue contains about 6 or 7 stories in there. There's some really good illustrators in there. Also some really good writers. In the past, I've only really owned about, I don't know, maybe a dozen issues of heavy metal. But now, a friend of mine from work gave me a bunch of these that he had, and he's like, hey, you might appreciate these, and I totally do. Thank you. This was a really good, thanks for thinking of me. I did used to read it back in the day, and I do remember quite vividly, of course, the gratuitous nudity and violence, and definitely a lot of imagination going in there. What kind of an imagination these folks have, well, that's up to you. Because it's art, man. Come on. And of course, I can't talk about heavy metal, the magazine, without talking about the movie. The heavy metal movie was a cool movie. I liked it. I really did. And but the soundtrack to a movie called Heavy Metal should probably have a little more actual like heavy metal in it, and that was made in like 1980. So you're trying to tell me in 1980 the only heavy metal song you could dig up was Mob Rules by Black Sabbath? I mean, come on. Even the theme song, Sammy Hagar, heavy metal, that song's it's not even close to heavy metal. It's adult contemporary rock or boring pop ass crap. Whatever. Sorry, Sammy, but your song is not really heavy metal to me. I mean, you couldn't put a couple of Judas Priest songs in the soundtrack, or you couldn't afford them, or what? All I got to say is yeah. I guess I got a lot to say about that. But I'm going to stop saying stuff about that, because it was a good movie, and it's not like the music was terrible or anything. It was just, wasn't heavy, wasn't metal enough for my liking. Yeah, once again, I can't really show you too much of the art in here, because there is a lot of nudity and stuff. On the covers, of course, they can't have full frontal nudity, or I don't think they could get away with it, but it's in there. Along with a lot of great sci-fi stories. Also, besides just the 1980 movie, they also made a Heavy Metal 2000. And that one actually had like a lot of metal on the soundtrack. But at the time, in 2000, we're talking like there's got to be like a Limp Bizkit song on there or some shit. And then, I don't know, maybe some good stuff. I can't remember anything from it. I don't even remember the movie. The first one, of course, I remember quite vividly. But yeah, the magazine, though, is an awesome magazine. Because you find there's a lot of like breakthrough stories and things like that could only be published in a magazine like this. And I could see, Hollywood, why aren't you mining this kind of stuff for material? Instead, you want to give us, the further adventures of characters we don't care about. How about this? It's like a freaking tank running over a dinosaur, and the guys on the side of the road arguing about it. That's the story right there. Rather go see that than The Rock doing Fast and Furious 17.